was asked in IELTS Writing Task 2 exam on 7th of October 2023, that is this year. So the question is, some people think that reading books can help you visualize things better and improve other imagination and language skills, while others think that watching TV is just as good. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So look at this question. Now, before we start writing the essay, so before you start with the writing of the essay, introduction, body paragraphs, make sure that you allocate your time strategically for both the tasks. So as you already know that there are two tasks in your writing task exam, right? There's a writing task 1 where you have to write a report if it is an academic exam. But if it is a general exam, you have to write a letter. So task 1 and task 2. So how do you allocate your time between? So the total time that you're given is 1 hour. So what you can do is you can allocate about 20 minutes, approx 20 minutes for your task 1 and 40 minutes for your task 2. Now you can change it depending upon your speed, your availability, or your convenience. But this is the suggested time or the recommended time limit that we tell our students to follow, because it is the most effective way to divide your time between the two tasks. Because task 1 has only 150 words to be written, and the task 2 has at least 250 words. All right. So depending on this is how you can allocate your time. Now, within these 40 minutes, how do we make sure that we make the most out of these 40 minutes that we are allocating or writing task 2? So you take about 2 to 3 minutes to understand the question properly. So you understand the question, what the question is asking you, what is the type of this question, this particular question is asking you to do. And then you can allocate another 2 to 3 minutes in writing down the content. So whatever you're going to write in this particular essay, right? What are the ideas that you're going to discuss? What are the points that you're going to cover? What is going to be the structure of the paragraph, the structure of your essay? So all of these things can be contemplated within these 2-3 minutes. So overall, you take about 5 to 6 minutes to planning your essay before you start writing, because this is very, very crucial for you to know how and what you're going to write before you even start writing, because then you have the confidence and then you have the flow that you can follow throughout. Because once you write it down, then going back and changing the essence of the essay, or you suddenly think that, okay, I'm going on the wrong track, and then going ahead and changing your essay in the previous paragraphs, it's going to be a little bit difficult and tedious for you, and it is also going to make your essay more prone to mistakes. To avoid that, make sure that you allocate this time strategically to plan out your essay, how you're going to write it down. So the 3 steps that we're going to follow for this essay is: step 1, understand the given statement. So what is the given statement? Read the given statement 4 to 5 times. There is no bypass this. You have to read it as many times as you want to, so that you understand and you cover all the parts of the question. Sometimes it is not just about 2 sides, 2 views that are given to you, but the subtle ideas within those that you also have to cover. For example, in this question, some people think that reading books and watching TV. So these are the 2 major ideas. First of all, before I dive into the question, the 2 major ideas is we are drawing comparison between reading books and watching TV. But now we also have to understand what is this about. When I'm talking about reading books and watching TV, am I talking about the effects on health? Am I talking about the effects on eyesight? Or am I talking about the imagination, creativity, or cognitive skills? What am I talking about? On what basis am I going to draw this comparison? Because there are various ways you can draw this comparison. That is why we will read the question properly, underline the keywords, and make sure that our essay is properly on track. Thus, fourth, enhancing our task response, that is, relevance to the question. So reading books can help you visualize things, right? Better. And what does it help you to do? Improve imagination and language skills. While others think that TV is just as good. So now I know that I have to compare books and television on the lines of better imagination and language skills. So which one provides better language and imagination skills? That is what I'm going to draw comparison on. I'm not going to talk about other aspects of what TV includes or reading books includes. I'm going to focus specifically on these 2 particular areas in terms of books and TV. All right. So you, number one, understand the given statement. We have completely dissected it, underlined the keywords. Now we have to make sure that we understand the instruction. So what is the instruction? So the instruction given to us here is, just a minute, yes. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So this tells us that this is an opinion essay. What we are supposed to do here, we're supposed to tell them our opinion on the matter. What do I think personally is reading books better or watching TV? So it cannot be just like, what the major opinion is, what you personally feel is true, right? It can be like, for example, a lot of people think that watching TV is better, but we are not going to be concerned about it. We are going to just simply concerned about what you think. And then you should be able to also develop it and make sure that the examiner is fully convinced. So whatever your pointers you give, you make sure that when you're choosing an opinion, you choose that opinion which you can write and express properly. So if you cannot express any pointers about reading books, but you have more points on watching TV, then you can definitely go with it. So this is also how you strategically plan out your opinion before you start writing. Because a lot of times students in the class, they have one opinion. Okay, they think that yes, reading books is better. But then when they start writing, they cannot express themselves. They do not know what pointers to write. But when I ask them about watching TV, so they're better equipped to do that. So whatever you think, just make sure that you have the pointers for it. You have to be very strategic about your opinion also. Last but not the least, generate content. So now for generating content, what we are going to do, we're going to take a site. It could be either reading books or watching TV, whichever you think is better for imagination and linguistic skills. It could be TV also, it could be reading books. You think about it, you jot down the points, and you make sure that your opinion is fully ready. Now, how do we write opinion in this particular essay? Let's see. So for an opinion essay, there are few ways you can address this particular essay. Number one, you can go with complete agreement or disagreement, right? That is 100% agreement, 100% agreement. What do I mean by that? By that is that 100% agreement would be yes, watching TV is as good. But disagreement could no, watching TV is not good because books have a better tendency to do that. So when you write down your agreement, disagreement, you also need to make sure that you're understanding that if you're agreeing to this statement, what is your viewpoint? And if you're disagreeing, what is your viewpoint? The other way could be a partial disagreement, where you say, yeah, watching TV is also good, but reading books is also good. So there's a 70-30% that I believe reading books is better, but watching TV also has these benefits. However, in the end, reading books is still better. So that is a balanced opinion, where you're not just saying that, oh, both are okay, but you're saying that this one is better than the other, but this one still has some good parts to it, right? So that is when you have a balanced opinion. For a partial agreement, it's not just 50-50 on both the sides. That is just inconclusive. That just confuses the examiner on your opinion. For a partial agreement, when I say partial agreement, that means 70:30. That means 70% I like reading books, but 30% I'm on the side of watching TV. All right. So let's have a look how these two different opinions can be written down in your essay. So let's first quickly write down the structure. So the structure for the essay, as usual, is you start with introduction, then you write body paragraph, body para 1. Now, if this is a 100% agreement essay, we will just simply agree and give our point 1. Okay? Then we'll move on to body para 2. We will again agree and we will give point number 2. That this is our argument number 2. And then we will have a conclusion. Now, this is how a essay on 100% agreement or disagreement looks like. But if you have a partial agreement, there will be a third body paragraph. Now, what is the division of the opinions? So the first body paragraph would be to support your partial agreement. What do you think is partially okay? For example, you think that reading books is better, but watching TV has its benefits. But overall, you're in favor with reading books. So in the beginning, we'll talk about TV. Then the rest two body paragraphs would be about books. Okay, so this is how you write down your partial agreement essay. Always remember, partial agreement cannot be 50-50. It cannot be one paragraph is about TV, the other is about books, because then you're not providing a conclusive argument at the end. Na? You have to provide a complete, a full closed argument that this is what I believe. All right, so let's move on to the sample essay that we have written for you. Introduction. So before we dive into the introduction, let's quickly remember the structure for introduction. So an introduction starts with paraphrase. Paraphrase. When you paraphrase the question that is given to you, arguments. What arguments are you going to present? And thesis statement. What is a thesis statement? Thesis statement is the answer to the given question. So what is the question given here? What is your opinion? So we'll clearly state our opinion in the matter. That would be your thesis statement. So you can briefly discuss the arguments that you're going to talk about in this particular essay. All right. So in the ongoing discourse on whether reading books or watching TV is more effective in enhancing visualization, imagination, and language skills, opinions diverge. So see how we have taken the question itself and then written it in our own words, our changed vocabulary, just to give the essence of the question, that what is the question talking about, right? So we are talking about how we have changed, instead of visualize things, we have written visualization. So we changed the part of speech of the verb. So from a part of speech of the, part of the speech, from verb, it changed into a noun. So visualize is a verb, but we changed into visualization as a noun. Similarly, we have changed the sentence structure, and this is how you can paraphrase your question. Next, some assert that book offers a unique cognitive engagement. Now we are talking about the first side, book, why reading books is better, while others contend that televisions provide an equally valuable visual experience. So this is again part of the paraphrasing, that some people think that TV is better, some people think books is better. Now, what is your opinion on the matter? However, I firmly believe that reading books surpasses television in cultivating these cognitive abilities as books. Now, we have stated our opinion firstly, quickly, that this is my opinion, that reading books is better. Now, I'm briefly introducing the arguments I'm going to talk about. So you don't have to give the reasoning for it. You don't have to support it. You can just briefly mention the arguments. Requires a mental deciphering of subtle cues, which are rather easily overlooked when passively watching television. So this is going to talk about how watching television is more of a passive activity than active activity, which thus forth hinders the development of these cognitive skills or abilities that we are talking about. So these are the things that you can add in your introduction. So see, we have paraphrased the question, done. We have provided our brief arguments, done. And we have also clearly given what our opinion is, thesis statement also checked. So this is how you write an introduction. Let's move on to the body paragraph 1. So the essay I chose here is for 100% agreement. So we'll only have 2 body paragraphs, both in favor of books. So starting this body paragraph, we have reading books foster a deeper level of imagination and language skills compared to watching TV. When individuals read, they actively engage their minds, creating vivid mental images and stimulating their imagination. So the argument here is that, first of all, reading books has a deeper level of imagination. Why? Because it actively engages their mind and thus stimulates more mental images. The process of decoding written language and constructing meaning from text requires a higher level of cognitive processing, promoting language proficiency. So this is how I'm supporting my argument, that how is it more actively engaged? I'm not just saying it is more actively engaged, but I'm also explaining to the examiner that when we read the text, we also engage in deciphering what it is about, right? On a TV screen, you're simply given what is it about, right? You're simply presented with the, let's say, the backdrop or the setting of the story. But when you're reading through your books, you have to actually think about, okay, there was a lavender curtain, there was this kind of fence, there was an oak window. all of these, you have to know all the words. Then you're employing your mind to decipher what was where, and then you curate a scene. Then you understand the backdrop. So this is more active engagement than just simply staring at a screen. So this is how we have explained what our point was. Rather than just stating it, we are explaining it to the examiner that yes, now the examiner should be fully convinced that what I'm trying to say is true, and not just some sort of, throwing around of words, or just I'm just presenting arguments without any backing to it. Last but not least, we'll add an example. For instance, studies have shown that individuals who read regularly demonstrate superior vocabulary and linguistic comprehension compared to those who primarily watch television. So this is a simple example that you have read a study, come across a study that people who read, generally you have seen people who read have a better vocabulary because they have been actively engaging their minds, and also have a better linguistic comprehension because you are continuously deciphering what the text means to you. Now, before I move forward, were you able to grasp the structure of this particular body paragraph? The structure of this body paragraph, or what are the essential elements? Let's not talk about the structure because there are no hard and fast rules about creating a particular paragraph, but there are essential elements of a body paragraph. What are those? There should be a topic sentence. The topic sentence should give an introduction that what are we going to talk about in this particular body paragraph. I am going to state that this is important, or this is the argument I'm presenting, right? Then supporting statement. What is a supporting statement? You state the reasons for which your argument is true, just how we presented it here. Last but not the least, you can give an example. Make sure that your body paragraph is fully developed and the examiner is convinced. So these are three essential elements of a body paragraph. Other than that, you can add additional point if you feel like that's something that is very relevant to this particular idea. You can add that if you feel like, or you can add a concluding statement within the body paragraph. Now, both of these are optional elements. You can or cannot add it. But above three elements, topic, sentence, supporting, and example, these three are very, very essential and integral for a good body paragraph. All right, let's move forward to the body paragraph 2. All right. While television can provide visual stimuli, it often falls short in cultivating the same level of mental engagement and imagination as reading. The TV relies heavily on external visuals and does not necessitate the same mental effort as decoding written words. Unlike books, television tends to spoon feed information, limiting the viewer's ability to actively interpret and analyze content. For example, when reading a mystery novel, the reader actively participates in solving the puzzle, engaging their analytical skills, whereas a detective show on television may present the solution without requiring the viewer's active involvement. So see, next argument is that how TV spoon feeds you the information. That one way that books are still better is because in books you have to read through the lines, you have to interpret between the things, right? You have to understand what this person is trying to say, what is the intention of the writer behind this, what was the intention of the person. While when you're watching a TV, everything is spoon fed to you. All of the things are deconstructed for you by the TV itself, right? So in that case, again, it is a way that where you have, because of this visual stimuli provided by the TV, it falls short in cultivating the same level of mental engagement and imagination. Again, let's quickly check if the three elements, the essential elements of a body paragraph are here or not. Number one, topic sentence, we have it here. Number two, do we have a supporting statement that supports the argument that you're presenting? Yes. So the supporting statement was TV relies heavily on external visuals, right? Next, number three, example. Here's the example that we have written here. Okay, so we have all three essential elements of a body paragraph here. That is why this is a body paragraph that can convince our examiner fully on the argument that we are presenting to them. Last but not the least, let's have a look at the conclusion quickly. Yes. The conclusion, before I move on to the conclusion can simply be a paraphrase statement of your thesis statement. So whatever your thesis statement was, remember thesis statement is the answer to the instruction. So instruction here was, to what extent do you agree or disagree? What did we write? We wrote, however, I firmly believe that reading books is much more better because TV is passively engagement, all of those in the introduction that we wrote. So you can simply paraphrase it and make it your conclusion. In conclusion, no new ideas to be added. It is a fatal mistake. Never add any new ideas or examples in your conclusion. It is strictly not acceptable for you to add any new ideas or example in your conclusion. You'll only talk about the things that you've already talked about, and you will simply give them a conclusion. So you can start with in conclusion, the immersive and cognitive demands. See how we have changed the words to not simply write whatever you've already written or repeat the sentences. Repetition is also something that is frowned upon in IELTS exam. So make sure you paraphrase. If you can't think of any more synonyms for these words, change the part of the speech that sometimes if you don't know what is the other word for visualize, you make it visualization. If you can't find another word for imagination, you change it to imagine. You change the part of speech, or you change the structure of the sentence. That, for example, if we are talking about if the subject of the sentence is, if it is an active voice, you make it into passive voice. You make a conditional statement. If it is a simple sentence, you make a compound sentence or a complex sentence. So all of these things that you can deploy to paraphrase your statement in case you want to paraphrase your statement. Next, reading books make it a more effective tool than television for enhancing visualization, imagination, and language skills. So this is how you can write down your conclusion. Let's have a look at the entire essay. So this is the entire essay: introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, conclusion. Now, a few other things that I want you to keep a note here. So first, we talked about task response. That is your relevance to the question. So we have only covered how reading books is more effective in enhancing your cognitive engagement skills like imagination and language skills. All right. Other than that, the second thing that we have to focus upon is lexical resource. What is lexical resource? Your vocabulary. So you have to use different kind of words, synonyms, and high vocabulary words to show the examiner that you have a good grasp over the language. But apart from good words, there are other things that you can use. So first of all, remember you cannot use idioms in your essay. Remember, cannot. You cannot use idioms. Why? Because idioms are informal form of conversation or informal form of expression. So you cannot use them in your essay. You can definitely use them in your speaking test, but not in the formal writing because essay is more of a formal writing situation. So one thing that you can use other than your high vocabulary words is your collocation. So collocations, what are collocations? Two words that generally are paired together and make more sense than something else paired together with the same meaning. For example, I've previously talked about one of the very famous collocation that is, okay. So these are two collocations. Which one do you find better or more, what you can say, colloquial? Is strongly forbidden better or strictly forbidden? So you've mostly heard strictly forbidden, right? So that's a better collocation. This is what we call a collocation, right? So what collocations can you see in this particular essay? Let's have a look. Yes, there could be ongoing discourse, ongoing discussion. Then we have other collocations like cognitive engagement. Then we have equally valuable. This is also called collocation, right? Subtle cues and yes, vivid mental images, right? Clear mental, instead of writing clear mental images, better mental images, we have a better word for it, vivid mental images, because vivid is generally related to the memory and creation of whatever you have seen already. So vivid is a better collocation here. Then we have, what else can you find here? Linguistic comprehension, it could be one. We have visual stimuli. Visual stimuli is when something you get. Stimulus is basically something that creates action in you, right? So visual stimulus is something that is on the screen, that is related to the eyesight. Then we have spoon-fed information. Right. So these are the collocations that you can also use in your essays. But plus, when you also learn collocations, it's a better way to enhance your vocabulary because at one point of time, you're learning more than one word that go together. So you're also understanding the usage of them. It's a better way to enhance your vocabulary. All right. Next, apart from lexical resource, we have coherence and cohesion. Coherence and cohesion refers to the linking of your essays. So how well your essays are linked. Have you used different kinds of linkers? If A's your one argument is relating to the other argument that you've presented, if there is a certain flow in your essay, that all of the things that you're talking about in your essay have a linkage to each other. For example, in conclusion, for instance, however, all of these are your linking tools. Now, when individuals read, right, this is also how we are linking one idea to the other. So this is all how you can use your coherence and cohesion in your essay. Last but not the least, grammatical range and accuracy. So grammatical accuracy is, of course, how accurate your grammar is. So you have to make sure that you do not make mistakes in punctuation. Punctuation is also very, very important, right? So mind your commas and full stops, your subject-verb agreement, if the subject, your tenses, all of these are encountered in your grammatical range and accuracy. But when I talk about range, use different kinds of sentences, active sentences, passive sentences, conditional statements, then complex statements, compound statements. It is very important for you to use complex statements, at least incorporate 5 complex sentences because it is crucial that you at least use 5 complex sentences or each of the body paragraph have one complex sentence in their essay. All right. So see if you can find any complex sentence here. One, I'll just point out on one. While television can provide visual stimuli, it often falls short in cultivating the same level of mental engagement and imagination as reading. So this is one example of complex sentence where one dependent clause is paired with an independent clause. So see if you can find any other complex sentences in this particular essay. And let's move on. That is all for today. Thank you so much for joining. For more such interactive IELTS sessions and content, please follow us on LinkedIn and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you do not forget or miss out any of the sessions that we're keeping for you. And if you want to join our IELTS classes, have comprehensive or crash courses in IELTS, you can visit our website www.yunolearning.com or give us a call at this number if you have any doubts other than that.